Without further ado, Michael Storm, I'm going to make you the presenter. I'm very much looking forward to talking to you. Welcome to our community. So I should be able to hear your voice, see your screen.
How are you? Can you hear me?
Hi, Michael.
Hi.
So nice to meet you, buddy. Thank you so
nice
much for taking time out of a wild day to be with us.
Yeah, no problem at all. Yeah, thanks. I'm looking forward to it. I've heard good things about you from other people, so it's all good.
Oh,
can you guys hear me?
It's good
okay?
to know. I can hear you. Do you want to do a screen share so we can talk, or are we just going to do an audio? There we go. Okay, so Michael, I know that you want to talk about your trading methods, but what's interesting to people? Everyone has to start somewhere. And I believe I'm right in saying you've been doing this for about 17 years. Is that correct?
Yeah, that's right. Long time. Hey, by the way,
okay,
which screen is showing? Just curious.
I'm seeing your Euro daily, Swiss yen 5-minute,
okay,
CAD
right,
yen 15-minute.
Yeah, I just threw up this little cheapy account here, so.
Okay.
So
what I'd like to know is, how did it begin for you? Who introduced you to the business? What were you doing before? How did you get in? Who influenced you? Kind of like the beginning of your journey. It's always interesting to see how people ended up being traders. So what's your story?
Well, I mean, I wrote a little bit about that on a Twit Longer post actually yesterday. How I got started was I remember way back in like 1999, 2000 period, I saw some smart alecky looking kid that made $4 million in 1 year. He was on the cover of Forbes, and he was just smiling with this incredible smirk. And he was a SOS bandit, S-O.
Oh, yes.
Yeah. So they closed that loophole pretty quickly, but I mean, I saw that and I'm like, my God, I just sit home and push buttons all day long and make millions. I'm like, yeah, I'm hooked. So opened up my first account. Yeah. I mean, I threw like $70,000 in there, and I got a really cheap, just a used laptop computer with one screen. I still remember the days. It was crazy. And I just started banging away like mad, and all I had was tape reading skills. I mean, I read books on tape reading, about 3 or 4 of those, and I just sat there and watched level 2 in the tape and traded like crazy. So, but it didn't go great. I mean, the first year was pretty wild. I got to say, I mean, I would make like $10,000 one day, lose 15,000 the next. Make $7 grand one day, lose 9,000 the next, whatever. And it was all over the place. I mean, some days I'd make $3,000, then I'd lose $1 grand, and it just went haywire. It was up, down, all around, and so I realized I needed help and I needed more, and so I ended up basically joining up with Greg Carpra and Oliver Velez of Christine. Some people might remember them. They were pretty big about 17 years ago, and they split up, and so I left in 2006. But I was in their trade room that was run by Paul Lang.
I don't think they have such a great Velez has such a great reputation.
No, the reputation's pretty bad.
Wasn't that pristine?
Yeah, it was, and there were some good traders, in there. I mean, at the time, that was the go-to room. I mean, there was like 1,000 people in that room, and you quickly learned who was good, who was bad, and who not to listen to, and who to pay attention to. But I was there for 6 years and did very well.
So they're still around, everybody. Don't go there. All right, go ahead, buddy.
Don't go there. No, but he's got some good books, and some of the information is really good. And I've well, anyway, since then, in 2006, I went to Forex, and obviously the stock market information would not work for the Forex market. So I ended up reading probably, I'm going to guess, around maybe 75 to 100 books, and I burned almost all of them in my fireplace, actually. But I did hold on to about 12, and I really liked those books, and I read them over and over and over again.
Name one.
Name one. Reminiscences of a Stock Operator.
Okay, yeah, Jesse. As long as you don't end your time on the planet the same way. I think it's an excellent book. Yeah.
I'm not about to go crazy and shoot myself. I'm a pretty happy guy. I got too much to live for.
I hear you.
So, yeah. So anyway, it took a few years, the transitional period from 06 to 09, basically to 2010. It really took a while to figure out the Forex market. I mean, I was lost. At least 3 or 4 years.
Most people I interview, Michael, say it was about 3-4 years before they had breakthroughs and they became proficient and consistent. Would you agree with that time frame? Kind of like an undergrad degree in trading?
Yeah, completely agree. Yes.
Okay.
But the thing is, the longer that you sit in front of the charts, okay, the more that you can survive, the more you have a chance to thrive. And a lot of people give up before.
Like that.
They give up before the breakthrough comes. They want to get rich really fast. If it doesn't happen in 6 months, like they enter and say, well, I'll give this a try. And that's the wrong attitude. And a lot of people will just try it for 6 months and fail, blow out their account, fund it a couple times, blow it out a few times, and then they give up. The spouse can't handle it. Kids can't handle it, whatever. And there's a lot of reasons.
Michael, let me ask you this, because, I used to say you don't lose till you quit. But isn't it possible that some people just don't, no matter how long they stuck with it, they just don't have the right temperament? And if it's really a negative influence on their life, it's okay to let go?
Yes, it is. It's not for everybody. And it can become very addicting. I think a lot of people have a gambler mentality. They just really don't have the proper mindset, the proper discipline, the patience to wait for the trade setup to come to them, and the ability to see it, not just the knowledge. I mean, knowledge is one thing, but wisdom is something entirely different,
How about psychology? You could be a great analyst and make great calls, but that's much easier than executing it when you have money on the line.
Right, exactly. You have to put money on the line. And the problem I think a lot of people face is they adopt this mentality of go big or go home. And they'll put everything in their account on one trade, or maybe half their account value on one trade.
I've done it.
I won't do that. It's crazy. I don't want to.
Yeah, don't go to pristine and don't do that.
Exactly.
All right, go ahead, buddy.
So I guess the biggest things I found in the last 7 years, okay, and just really boiling it down and coming to the culmination of what I've finally grown towards, because let's face it, we're all on a journey as traders, and we're growing towards being a self-sufficient trader that has their own system, their own knowledge, their own wisdom, their own understanding. What I've gotten, especially in these last few years, is to trade incredibly small relative to account value. And most people will laugh at that and say, oh, that's ridiculous. It's not even worth my time, to put a mini lot on a trade. But for me, I have no problem with that. I mean, I've got an 8-monitor array, and I'm sitting in front of it, and I've got like 30-something charts up. And I basically kick back in a very relaxed environment, just drinking coffee and eating bacon and eggs and just watching the charts. And I basically come into the market saying, I don't really want to trade. I don't want to push any buttons today, unless something jumps out and grabs me by the throat and slaps me around and wakes me up. And
you don't really have to hunt for a trade. I've talked about that, Michael. It's a great point that you make. The good ones are so compelling you can't avoid them. But if you're going from instrument to instrument and you have this in your head, I've got to find a trade, you need to turn your platform off.
Yeah, you don't want to be desperate, that's for sure. And you don't want to be scared either. And a lot of people trade so large, it scares them. They have the trouble, pulling the trigger. It's a fear for pulling the trigger.
Use Less Leverage was a breakthrough for you, and it's a song I wrote. But go ahead, buddy. Yeah, go ahead.
Once. You
heard that before?
Yeah, I did hear you say that. I like that. That's pretty bold of you. Yeah. So, what I do now is I put my trades into 3 different groups. All right. I look at scalp trades on 1 to 5 minute charts. I'll look at intraday position trades on 15-minute charts or 1-hour charts, and I'm looking for a swing, something to swing up for a couple of hours or down for a few hours. And then I'll do different trades, like on 1 hour, 4 hour, and daily. They'll actually become, you know, swing trades holds that I'll hold for days on end, you know. So
do you start short term and move to longer term time frames, or do you start at longer term time frames and drill down?
Oh, always start longer term time frames,
okay.
and drill down, definitely.
Okay, buddy.
So, and then in addition to that, I'll group my trades into 3 other areas, like high confidence, low confidence, medium confidence. And if I don't have too much confidence, but I see a 5-minute buy set up on something, I might say, you know, well, okay, I'll throw 0.05 or 0.1 or, you know, something like that. If it's a medium confidence trade, I might do like a 0.2. And if it's a high confidence trade, I'll do maybe like a 0.3. And if it's insane confidence trade, like it's just one of those trades that reaches right out of the screen and slaps you all over the face and says, "Oh, here I am, come and take me." You know, I'll put on like a half a lot or something, and then I'll often use the stop. I'll institute a stop loss at that point.
Okay.
You know.
All right.
So like for instance, I mean, I don't want to just shoot around because you probably have questions, but I'll show you.
I do. You know, just whatever's on your radar and whatever you want to talk about. It's still a free country for a while. So, yeah, you know, maybe you could talk about what you have on the screen. I see that you use stochastics and it looks like some moving averages. Is that correct? And then
Yes.
also looks like you also know harmonics.
A little bit.
I see a couple. Yeah, I'm an amateur at everything. So why don't you tell us why and how you use what's on your screen?
Sure, no problem. So basically what I'm looking for when I drill down, okay, is I start off with a daily chart and or I'll go monthly and weekly, and then I'll look at the daily because the daily is the one I focus on the most. Okay. So the other day I saw this, it was just an incredible move. You know, I look at this like basically at 3 drives. You know, we had 1, 2, 3.
You like that too, huh? Where did you learn that? Sure.
You know, I really can't remember. But right. Yeah, I like seeing something that's in a 3 drive mode, and I like to see its completion. And I saw this daily sell here, and I can't remember if I shorted this or not, but you know, I basically waited until it came right back here into the moving averages. And when I saw the 55 DMA getting touched, along with this 40.
Which chart? Or can you put your cursor up on that chart?
Yeah, I do have my cursor up right now. I don't know if you can see it or not.
I can't.
No?
All right, so which chart are you talking about then?
Can you see this chart or no? I have the US dollar ZAR up right now on full screen. Big.
No, I'm still showing that mixed screen with 6 different charts here right now. The original one.
My screen sharing went down. How do I do that again? How do I restart? I'm no expert at go.
Okay, so you just click the screen share option above there. Steve, help me if I'm not giving him good instructions. But you should be able to reshare your screen. Or is it working for you?
Just up now, there's a think tank doing around regarding the ECB.
Uh-oh. I guess I need this guy. Hold on a second here. Let me find him. Is it working now?
We're still looking at your original screen.
Wow, that's beat. That really stinks.
I hate when this happens.
Yeah, I've got the button here that says show screen. I'm hitting pause.
Maybe you're not showing. Do you have a lot of screens?
Hey Dale, this is Blake. I think you might want to take over the screen and then pass it back over to him. See if that works.
Okay, thank you, Blake.
Right.
I'm going
to
Blake,
take how's it going, by the way?
And good morning, by the way.
Good morning. Yeah.
I'll show my screen.
Try that again.
And now I'm going to go back to Robinhood.
Yeah, I'm no expert at GoToMeeting. I used Omnovia for like 6 years, so I don't know.
You should have seen me my first day at GoToMeeting. All right, so you're up again, and it's still the same screen.
No.
There's an icon on your control that if you can click and select which screen that you're presenting, because right now we can see the original one with the Euro yen, Swiss yen, Canadian yen, and the 6 other pairs. So.
So you have to select another screen unless you have it on the, there we go. Beautiful, Michael. See,
Okay.
that's why you're a trader, is because you're persistent. Okay,
Yeah.
so now we see USD ZAR up there.
Okay. All right.
Thank you.
Pardon me. So, yeah, so anyway, the US dollar ZAR daily, I saw this 3 drive.
Yeah.
And then I waited for it for a bunch of days, you know, to come down. And when I saw it hit the 55 DMA, which is the green line, and the 40 period, simple, this is all simple right here. I was thinking, you know, this is an incredible fall. I mean, 4 days down, really huge. I saw, you know, the stochastics basically buried. I looked underneath, and I saw the 200 and the 100 all coming up. And I look at these wicks over here and, you know, the candle bodies, very visual, you know. And so I just figured I'm just going to buy this, and so I did. And
Did you wait for the first green candle to tell you that the break had lost momentum?
Well, on the lower time frames, yeah. I mean, I'm trying to remember exactly where it was. Somewhere down in here. It was more anticipatory. You know, I might have bought over here, or maybe I bought somewhere over here. Not sure. But I just bought it and held it and waited, and it went up 2,500 pips, and then I got out. So, you know, that was a good one. So I'm basically looking for stuff to go to areas, you know, price points that make sense, you know, to me. I don't really want to buy or sell anything unless it really makes sense. It's completely out of line, you know. As a, for instance,
what are you looking at today with pretty big reversals overnight in S&Ps and bonds and yen and gold? I'm curious what your view is with what's happening right now. What's on your radar that you're considering that you haven't done yet?
Well, that I haven't done yet. I mean, I've just done it. So.
Okay, beautiful. That's just as good.
Yeah. I'm actually long. I'm long New Zealand yen. I'm currently long New Zealand Canada and New Zealand Swissy. And the reason for this, which I'll just explain, I'm not looking for the world. I'm not looking to, I'm not looking for a home run. Okay. No, I'm not looking for a home run. I'm just looking for a single or a double. I'm just looking for this right here. I see a maximum daily range bar that is crazy huge. I mean, it's eating up 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 days, right? 6 days and more.
Engulfing. Yeah.
Yeah, and then you see all this support way back here. Okay, so I like this. This is out of control. It's too far. So I look at the 4 hour, and I know that what goes down is going to bounce, and what bounces is, goes up really high, like over here, is going to fall.
So would you look for kind of like a retracement of that big decline that we recently had, halfway back? Do you use fibs, or maybe back towards your confluence of moving averages would be enough for you?
Yeah, exactly. I mean, right now you have an oversold condition that's out of this world, and it's across every pair. So I see the stochastics buried on the 4 hour and the 1 hour, and I might be early. Like I said, I'm trading so small. Oops, what did I do? Okay, I dragged it by accident. I'm trading so small that I really don't care. It's not going to affect me if this trade goes against me. Not on this, because this is a different platform that I have up, but on my real account, I've got right now 0.1 on a 50K account. I've got 0.1 put out there. Okay.
Yeah, so I wasn't gonna ask you because I'm not your accountant or wife, and it's none of our business. But yeah, you really use less leverage to heart.
Well, I'm telling you what I mean by trade small. I mean, I got 50K. I got 500 to 1. And I'm at 0.10. I mean, you got to be kidding me. It's laughable. So if this does not work right here, if I have guessed incorrectly, and it comes on down lower and lower, I mean, I'm basically going to be dragging these lines down. And what I'm looking for is an eventual 1 hour buy or 4 hour buy, and I'm looking for a mild retracement. And at this point here, you know, I see this little spot that put in an hourly buy candle, but it failed. So there's going to be people wanting to get out there. They're holding on, they're doubling up or whatever, and they're just waiting for a small retracement just to get out because they're not.
Yeah, so you look for some mean reversions after extreme moves as one of your styles.
It's one of them, yeah.
Yeah, okay.
And you know, another key thing is, you probably read the book by Douglas where he said, we know nothing for sure and we don't have to in order to make money.
Right.
Remember Mark Douglas?
Okay.
You know, trading
in the zone.
Yeah, trading in the zone. We know nothing
Yeah.
for sure. We don't have to in order to make money. And that's the truth. I don't know anything, really. The reality is, I don't know if it's going to stop here. And I don't know if it's going to bounce to the 382 fib, if it'll bounce to the 50. I don't know anything, you know. And
So let me ask you this. About 7 years ago, I bet you thought you knew everything, and now you know nothing.
Well,
right?
Kind of, yeah. Somewhere between 7 and 5 years ago, you know, I looked at stuff and I thought that I could pinpoint exactly where something was going to go. You know, exactly where the bottom would be or the top, and you know where it would go to. And it's just
because it would happen once in a while. Because it would happen once in a while, but it was the exception, not the rule.
Yeah, very often
Right?
wrong. No, yeah. So the thing is I can't tell the market what to do, and I can't really pinpoint exactly where something's going to go. So I'm just looking to take a pocket, you know, a pocket of movement. You know, if I can only get 50 pips out of a 100 pip move, and I exited because I saw a 15-minute sell, and I was like, oh boy, I'm not going to watch all my pips evaporate, and then it turns around and shoots up 100 pips. You know, what did I do? I mean, I got out early. You know, I only got 50 out of a 100 pip move. I can't cry over that. I'm just got to be happy, you know, and realize
that's a great attitude. That's a great, because I know a lot of people, Michael, you know, they go, oh, you know, my target was higher, I got out. Do you ever take partials just in case something like that happened?
Yeah, absolutely. Okay. A lot of times I will see a trade go and it'll move up or down, you know, beautifully. I'll see I have like 75 or 80 pips or something, you know, first thing in the morning, I might wake up and find that. I'll often take half off, and then I'll set an in the money stop underneath some candle or above some candle, you know, and I'll let it run and see what happens on the rest. And half the time I'll get stopped out for a profit, and the other half the time it'll go much further than I ever thought, and I'll chase my stop loss down, you know.
Yes.
Like if I was short this, which I was not, I wish I was, but if I was, every hour I would have been pulling my stop loss down. I don't know if you can still see my chart.
Yes, we can.
Okay, so right here, this hourly candle, if I was short, oops, that would have caused me to bail on probably 50 to 80% of my trade. I would have taken it off. You know, if I had like, let's say 0.2, I might have taken 0.15 off of the table here, and then, you know, set a stop like right up, I can't get this to drag, right up here.
So you're a believer in trailing stops as well?
Yeah, but manually, you know, I don't just let the computer do it. So then every hour that goes by, you know, you just keep chasing it down. I mean, eventually it's going to get an hourly buy signal, and you're going to get knocked out, you know.
So Michael, is there anything else important that you'd like to share? We're, you know, coming up, you know, there's really no time limit, but if someone came to you, Mike, and said, what's the most important piece of advice you could give me, Michael? I'm considering becoming a trader. What would you tell them?
Well, right off the bat, I would say to read the first 5 books on psychology, trading psychology. If you can master that and master the emotions of fear and greed, you're going to be okay. I think trading is 80% psychology. It's understanding what other market participants are going through, what they're feeling, their emotions, their thoughts, and how much pain they're in or how much greed they're in. And so I don't think we really trade the charts as much as we trade people and people's emotions of fear and greed.
Great advice, Michael.
You can master those
Right,
emotions and control yourself so that you're not freaking out in fear, or if you're not, you know, elated with greed and wanting, you know, a lot of people, it just kills me to hear some people say, I was up like 500 pips and then I gave it all back and let it go into a loss. I mean, that to me, whoa, that is insane.
Yeah.
You know, if you're up 500 pips, you better be taking half or 3/4 of your trade off and adjusting your stops. Who would ever want to see that go back? I mean, that's just greed of the highest level.
Well, it's not money. There's no money management. So to me, money management is part of the psychology. Taking half takes the heat off. You get paid, and you have no risk on a trade. So this was a great. This was a great interview, Michael. I'm so glad I reached out to you on Twitter.
Well, thanks. I'll keep going if you want me to, but
Yeah, go ahead.
So
go ahead, buddy.
Well, that's the first thing right there is the psychology. The second thing is the knowledge. You know, you've got to gain chart knowledge, knowledge of price action and how the candles are, you know, the candles are working and what's happening. You know, knowledge about market makers, for instance, where their stop runs occur. You know, if you look at the New Zealand yen, you can just clearly see somebody got stopped out up here before it crashed.
Yeah.
So that's a big piece of information. So knowledge goes together with wisdom, and then you just have to survive. You've in order to thrive, you have to survive, and the only way to survive is to trade really, really small and be very, very patient and focused. You know, this is I sound like a broken record to people a lot because I preach the same thing over and over and over again, to be focused and patient and very disciplined, and those things, you know, they sound like just words, but they're really very powerful. I mean, you got to look at what's behind that. You know, focus is a lot more than just sitting down and, you know, watching charts while you're reading your emails and playing on Facebook and, you know, all the other things you could be doing. Yeah, exactly. I mean, focus is, I mean, 100% all in. All distractions cut off, you know, phone turned off, TV's off. I mean, you're literally planted and staring at the charts and calculating and thinking and watching the price movement and the flow.
Michael, do you have some type of business model or no axe to grind at this time and just trading your own money?
Oh no, just my own money. I don't have any, I'm not teaching. I don't have you know, I don't have any kind of website or anything. You know, I don't have a course to sell, nothing. I'm not into that anymore. I've already done that. I've been there, done that. Don't want it for anything in the world.
Why?
It's a lot of work teaching people. You know, I've probably taught like 1,400 and something people to trade in about 6 years. And you know, it's just a tremendous amount of work to teach the newbie trader, and you pour all your energy in and all your time. And I mean, sometimes I would even give them free hours on Saturdays, like, you know, one-on-one. I mean, we'd sit there for hours on a Saturday and just go over stuff, and it got pretty tiring. It takes a lot of energy away. And I get the same old questions, you know, the same questions all the time, you know, what's my entry, what's my stop, you know, this, that, and the other. And you know, it gets tiring, and I don't want to, you know, I just don't want to go there anymore. So,
Well, I'll tell you what, buddy, I'm happy to call you my trading warrior brother. I don't know if you noticed, that's what I call people that I feel are kindred spirits with me. Yeah. I really like your attitude of being Robin Hood, where you're taking from the algos and giving to the everyman. And really was a pleasure meeting you. And what an excellent presentation on market psychology. So looking for Kiwi yen to pop for you for at least 50 pips, and that pips rain down on you for the rest of your trading career, my friend.
Oh, thank you very much, Dale. Appreciate it. And yes, and you as well. I hope you have a great trading day.
Thank you, Michael. Everyone, thank Michael Storm. You could follow him on Twitter at Forex spelled out Bandits. At Forex Bandits, he has nothing to sell you. Sorry. No, and I think it was a great session, everybody. Remember, the S&Ps have to close under that 2546 level by tomorrow. They have a 2-week reversal, and we'll wrap it up tomorrow. And you know how I end every show. And I'm going to even tell it to my trading warrior, Michael. Don't just count your pips, count your blessings, and we'll see everyone to wrap up the week tomorrow. Thanks again, Mike.
Awesome. Thanks, Dale.
Adios.